mass shooting, it was a Catholic.
Okay, so
We didn't think you'd actually have an example.
I have a list.
neither did I, because but the two problems with this, okay? We live in a Christian country and in a Christian tradition, so everybody kind of like casually calls themselves something, regardless of how committed they were. And I think I heard somebody say, "Where did he go to mass?" And I think what he was getting at was this somebody who goes and listens to the gospel in church every Sunday? Pretty sure it wasn't. Everybody kind of like loosely calls themselves Christians in Christian countries, at least until very recently. But aren't there more obvious common denominators between all these shooters than religion? For instance, antidepressant drugs. For instance, ready access to firearms. For instance, maybe even you might say their race and their gender. There's stuff that's like much more of them have in common. Way before you get to Christianity, no? Like 7 things they have in common, more than they have Christianity, don't you think?
The demographics follow the demographics of the United States.
The White Queen always gets
So I don't think
So what?
I don't think there's a common denominator between race, gender, whatever.
No, I said the demographics have nothing to do with whether someone's on prescription drugs.
What? How many mass shooters were on prescription drugs?
Literally all.
No.
Aside from I mean,
No.
you can't name one that wasn't on something. I mean, I don't have the list with me. I can certainly pull it up if you want. Every mass shooter has been on something.
That is false.
Dylan-
Also, I think
Dylan
it's
Roof was
disgusting
on
that
it.
you came here to our state talking about our children that died in a mass shooting as a political point. That is absolutely violent.
I live here. I live here, and I go to church here. Excuse me, ma'am. So pipe down, because I, as a resident of, I have just as much.
Hey, I think you need to pipe. Pipe down.
As somebody who lives here, I have just as much standing as you do to talk about the dangers in churches and schools, because I go to church every Sunday. Do you? Because if you don't, I'm at more risk than you are. No, you aren't.
You are not.
Why am I not at more risk than you are? Can I have an argument instead of petulance? No, I can't. You're leaving. Okay, very good. Oh, that was indicated by my sarcastic invitation. No, you aren't.
I'm talking.
Then please, where do you go to church? No, you don't. So, if the shootings have happened like quite a lot in church and synagogues lately, right? Whether it's right-wing or left-wing, or black or white, whether they're targeting Christians, they're targeting Jews, seems to happen quite a lot in religious worship lately. You go to synagogue or temple?
No, but
Do you go to a mosque? Do you go to? Yeah, I'm in one now. But you evidently didn't go here.
I do. I
Wait, are we
grew
in a
up in
school or are we in a
Tennessee.
convention center right now?
disappear!
I thought we were at a
To
university.
answer your question, go to Wiki.
Did they
look
not
up
let
no
us on
true
the university?
Scotsmen, okay? All the Christian shooters that were mass shooters weren't real Christians, okay? Apparently that's the answer.
Well, I think if you look at the manifestos, you can see what motivates them, and in many cases it is racially motivated. There's no point denying it. But I don't recall anybody drawing on early church fathers to justify their massacre of children. Not
Would
for
you
a
say
while- not for a
that
while
there is
anyway.
an ethnic bend to Christian nationalism?
Yes.
Okay, so then,
And I think
so then
it's-
who's to say that a mass shooter cites ethnicity for an inspiring factor for why they're the mass shooter? Like, why would you not say that Christian nationalism might play a role in this?
I think it's a pity that there does seem to be a sort of racial inflection to Christian nationalism. It's not a dimension of it that I share or care too much about. In my previous life, obviously, I loved and married settled down with somebody who's not my own race, and choose to hang out with them, don't have to, don't establish your relationships. I don't know what would to anyone's satisfaction. So, I don't know, I don't love the fact that most of these Christian nationalists seem to be young white guys, but by the same token, I've seen black conservatives, and we'll see what we have now. Certainly, I do think it's a responsibility of older and better educated Christians, and these guys who professor priests, to remind them that there's no skin color.
I'm just curious, for you personally, if you could choose between 10 million Mexican Catholics coming into this country or 10 million atheist Norwegians.
Well, I'm very racist and Spanish, so I'm a bit of a bind. I like blacks, I like whites, I like Asians. I don't love Spaniards, so you put me in a bit of a bind. But I would have to come down with Christians and well, that's
This is a question for Mr. Kimo. I was raised Catholic.
I don't know what that means. You're going to have to explain your Bob. I'm sorry.
No, though I really know how to pronounce your last name. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with Greek. My question is, I was raised Roman Catholic. I attended both Latin masses and English language masses up until my sophomore year of college, recently. I've also been a homosexual. I've attracted
Maximum pulse!
sex with men, all of my relationships have been with men, and I'm very aware of the fact that these homosexual relationships are a sin. And I'm wondering if you have practical advice for overcoming these things. I'm not interested in whether
Are you sincerely?
I'm completely sincere. I mean,
Because I will have a real conversation with you. It's just that there's been a particular tone. So,
I have been very ironic with you and sarcastic, but this is a completely sincere question. I totally understand. I mean, we could talk in the bathroom if you'd like, but
definitely.
I'm interested in actual practical applications. I'm not interested in whether or not.
Fine, sure. Someone saying you want conversation. All right. Look, what the church teaches is not that homosexuality in large part is a cluster of symptoms to early childhood trauma. Whether that trauma is having no male role model to refer to, whether it's the failure to form platonic attachments with male authority figures, there's a bunch of things that can happen. Or
Quantum magic.
You're not responsible for what happens to you, but you are responsible for what you do afterwards and what you do with it. And
But I'm looking for
church.
practical advice, day-to-day level.
Sure. Well, then you should. The easiest feels better already.
The first stop fucking men. Isn't that like the only thing you can say? I mean, what else can you do?
Easier said than done.
Jury! Executioner!
As my damp pillows will attest. I think that the first thing. Look, I'm going to assume that you're being serious and I'm not going to give you any sort of flipping whatever. I practiced meditation when I was getting myself out of that. I used hot oil. It was extremely annoying and lasted a long time. Kind of like sort of sexual appetite. But the first step before any of that is to figure out why you want stuff like this in the first place. If you weren't born this way, there's no Joe's gene, they would have found it by now. It doesn't happen. Something was done to you, or something was not provided for you. And one or both of those things happen which produce these feelings. And if you want to get right with God, the first step is to find out what was. The best place to go for that is a therapist who was trained by
Maximum pulse!
Joseph Nicholas. So Joe Nicholas is kind of like the sort of the godfather of call it reparative therapy now. And his son is still active and they still train therapists. Within quite a short space of time, they will help you find an answer. And there are a variety of therapies that look to the observer extremely funny. And I'll let you discover that something about yourself. But there's a path out if you want it. Almost everybody can reach celebrations in there. And then there is like 10 to 20% who successfully manage to enter into a relationship with a woman, have a active sexual life, and have children like this. Somewhere between 1 to 10 and 1 to 5.
Sorry.
No time to waste. For a lot of you, we are in this together.
So you had a great talk with the Muslim extremist Quarantos about how his great audio quality and good takes about how Muslim nations are greater than Christian nations. I wanted to ask Philo how you would implement Christianity when they are barely holding on to legitimacy, when Islam is gaining traction and while Christianity is taking E-list celebrities that take cock, well, at least 20 years ago, 20
Okay, I'll ignore the last bit. Catholicism and Islam are both growing, and the reason for that seems to be that people. The last bit.
20 minutes ago. Take cock while Christianity is taking D-list celebrities that take cock, well, at least of 20 years ago.
Could make all
Or
the difference.
20 minutes ago.
Okay, I'll ignore the last bit. Catholicism and Islam are both
You don't have to
growing,
be a
and
witch to
the
find a
reason for that
match
seems to
in
be
this
that
But it does help.
people correctly intuit that if a belief system or a club, a society, a way of life kind of demands nothing of you, then it's probably not worth very much. So people are very. It's one of the reasons that Protestants are so kind of ideologically promiscuous. You know, that church hopping happens when all you have to do is just show up, listen to a preacher for 45 minutes, you know, listen to some nice music and go home. People don't get very much out of it because there's not really much to get out of it. Islam and Catholicism are quite demanding, and they ask a lot of their followers. And in the world we live in today, it's no surprise that they're both growing.
Something has changed in you.
You say
Leah.
implement like it's, you know, the
You're
death
not the
penalty or
innocent
something.
child I once knew.
What I would suggest is that America rediscovers its founding principles, which are not untrammeled freedom. Freedom of religion in America was designed to avoid Protestant wars. It wasn't so Muslims could take public office.
4,
And that should be reversed, and it should be against the law.
1.
If you live in America and you're a servant of the people in America, you should be a church-going Christian. It ought to be a rule. But something happened in 1776 that I don't think was necessary. It was probably a mistake. When that, as the tradition goes, instead of just throwing out the king, America threw out religion as well. Dissociating it from the state, guaranteeing freedom of religion. This was intended just between Protestant denominations, but of course it always blossomed out. And then it sort of enshrined the right to commit various infractions against the Ten Commandments, including the First Amendment. I think if you want to sort of reinstitute things, all you really need to do is return to an understanding that none of this stuff works without Christianity. And one of the ways to communicate that would probably be to re-establish maybe Presbyterianism or Episcopalianism, probably the Episcopal Church, I would guess. That's the one that most of the presidents seem to go for. It's the church Tucker goes to. It's the National Cathedral in Washington. Most of the elites in the country are pretty happy with Episcopalianism. You know, you get back home to the real religion eventually, but let's start with that. It seems to me that should be quite quickly re-established so that all public bodies operate not only in the name of America, but in the name of God. And then if you want to be elected to any kind of public office, you have to be Christian.
Well, how would they implement that? Or you don't like the word implement because it sounds like you're forcing them, but it seems like African Americans don't even care about their Christianity and don't even relate their morals to how good their lives are.
Well, people know if you're a Christian. I mean, they know if you show up to church. It's sort of only when you take God out do you need like social credit scores, because no one's really like paying any attention to each other. So you have to kind of have this like weird Orwellian technological horror show where technology tries to piece together information about a person to figure out if they're okay or not. Everybody in your parish knows that you go to church. If you run for public office and you don't go to church, and then you know, she falls to you to prove that you are what you purport to be. That doesn't seem to me to be a problem. Anyone who goes to the regular local parish will know that. If you're a Christian, people will know. People know when you go to church. And it's a gentler, more sophisticated, I think, more normal form of kind of social currency and social capital than the you know, the horrific Chinese version.
Well, that sounds almost as feasible as communism, so I appreciate you and good luck with your future moves.
Alright boys, I'm going to try to ask 2 pointed questions to try to get some dubs for y'all. So Milo, at some point you mentioned Dutch paintings. It immediately made me think of the Calvinists around the time period that you're kind of advocating to go back for. And their biggest thing that they advocated for was they were very business oriented, but their simplicity and modesty were the values that they valued the most. How would you kind of reconcile in the transition to a society that has a Christian nationalist government, the American values of excess and stuff like that, you know, to the modesty Christian values.
Yeah, I get what you go. I don't think those were the American values until very recently. I mean, for the first 250 years of this country, precisely that kind of modesty obtained. Look at the 1950s. You know, you've got there's an ethos of humility, of service, of family orientation, right? America is kind of a Calvinist country. I mean, you go to Catholic churches; they don't feel like Catholic churches in Europe. They don't feel like, it's certainly not like Italy, but it's nothing like France, it's nothing like the UK. You know, America, wherever you go, it is kind of Calvinist. There's a sort of over-earnestness, there's this sort of flavor of slight humorlessness sometimes, you know, sort of taking everything very, very deeply seriously and being incredibly wounded by it, and taking everything just like, you know, everything is the apocalypse. And it's a very Calvinist kind of flavor to things, and it's why? Because so many areas in America that now hold the reins of prestige culture are Dutch. You know, that's why, because they come from precisely the place you're saying. So I don't think that American values were ever really of excess. I think that's something that has emerged. It's something that's been thrust on Black America as well. These sort of very degenerate, self-destructive social attitudes that pop up. I don't think there's anything particularly American about that. America's basically British, and with that dash of Calvinism from the Dutch up the top, that's basically been the sort of central conflict of America. And the soul of America, even after the Civil War, kind of remained basically, vaguely, mostly Anglophone, mostly Anglo. Although Americans don't think like that. But that Calvinist attitude, which also, by the way, gives rise to Puritanism and purity tests and cancel culture, is the thing that obtains in the Dutch areas, the Yankee-dom, New York. None of this has anything really to do with excess. Excess is a modern phenomenon that's driven by runaway capitalism and by a small group of people highly motivated to wreck the place.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. This one's for Stephen.
He is the controversial senior editor of Breitbart News and author of the upcoming book, Dangerous, Milo Yiannopoulos. Milo.
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
I will bring peace to this universe, no matter the cost.
Just before we came on air, I spoke to Milo Yiannopoulos. He's a senior editor at Breitbart News, and there's even been speculation that he too could find his way into the Trump White House. I began by asking him what exactly alt-right means.
Well, it's a very young, vibrant, exciting new movement of conservatives in America. They are populists, they're nationalists, which is not a dirty word in America. They care about immigration, they care about trade, and they really hate political correctness.
And you would describe yourself as one of the sort of cheerleaders?
No, the media is desperate to crown me the queen of it. All I've ever done as a reporter is give them a fair hearing, give them a fair crack of the whip in the press. For that crime, I have been called all sorts of awful names.
But they're too extreme even for you, then?
No, I wouldn't say that. We're fellow travelers on some issues, but, you know, I'm very pro-Iraq, I'm very pro-Israel. There are all sorts of, you know, points of difference, I think.
Do you think your erstwhile boss, Steve Bannon, chairman of Breitbart and Trump's chief strategist, do you think he has horribly regressive attitudes? He's been described by some liberals and antis.
Hello, everyone. It's certainly my honor to be with you today, and we've got a remarkable undercover operation. Fool around and find out again. And we're going to introduce some of the big bosses that are involved in this. And by the way, for the big bosses who don't know, this is our NRA Academy. We have representatives from all over the United States. Part of their class to the undercover operation. Our focus was and to also and that's what we're going to talk about today. But first off, I'd like to introduce by the eye of Agamotto, a dear friend of mine, who is the chief of staff for Governor DeSantis. And now he is our Attorney General.
I have risen.
Really like the work that he does. He's going to speak for it. Then we have our Chief Financial Officer, Blaze Emporia.
We are undefeatable!
Feel better all over.
My friend,
Born again! Quantum magic.
American president. President of the Sheriff's Association. He gets after the bad guys. We arrest them, he prosecutes them.
Shall we, my mechanical friend?
You're halfway there. Keep going!
For which I'm grateful, Mr. House, or having the lady sentenced to life for causing the death of one of my
Healing power.
and from the brink, baby. So thank you very much.
You are safe now, my
Almost
friend.
there! Don't turn back now!
Contributing and creating the environment because my deputy killed in line of duty. In addition to that, we will have
Mess with the amazing Spider-Man!
Dr. Marianne Thomas.
The vehicle reached a checkpoint. Keep up the momentum.
There's still so much to do.
The Bloomington, Minnesota Police
Quantum magic.
Booker Hybrid. That's the stuff. Dear friend of mine, and his team to participate and to learn. What's important to understand with these human trafficking operations,
Quantum
we
magic.
work with human trafficking. And as our goal, we have resources. Our NGOs are embedded with us so that we can
Healing
immediately turn them over to services. And you'll hear more about that in just a few minutes. But let me give you the highlights of what occurred.
I am born
There
anew.
were 240
You will complete your objective, my robotic friend.
only a 7-day operation.
Quantum magic.
230 human trafficking arrests.
This time I need healing. I'll patch you up.
111 prostitutes.
By the eye of Agamotto! Just die in
We
cosmic might.
are undefeatable!
Was the fact that we arrested 16 travelers. That's right. They were sexual deviants that thought they were coming to a home
Quantum magic.
and many
I
times
unleash the Vishanti's power. I am
not at all
enjoy the
but at a higher level. We're going to talk about with them. We actually located the victims.
Born again!
Not to show up. We arrest 200+.
Please. With the amazing Spider-Man! Unite.
There's 11 other states that are represented in those that were arrested. The state of Washington, California, North Carolina, New York, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Georgia, Virginia. Good to see you from back at all. 26 of the people that were arrested were married.
Quantum magic.
18 was the youngest person
You're
we
halfway there.
arrested.
Keep
67 was the oldest person. We also met people from government.
You are safe now, my friend.
You know, our CFO is really interested in waste. Well, think about it. You, the hard
Move this crap ever onward.
out making money, earning money, paying taxes.
Don't quit on me now, little buddy. Healing power. Cosmic might return.
We are undefeatable!
But this is the ones we identified. 5 previous Army, in addition to the 1, 2 Air Force, 1 Navy, 1 National Guard.
There's still so much to do.
15 firearms were brought to the operation by different suspects. One of the 15 firearms was stolen and we recovered. Of course, what would an operation be if we didn't arrest any part involved? We had 2 from Universal arrested and 2 from this. 32 people were charged with drug possession.
I unleash the
3 individuals had active warrants. 16 individuals had nobody can they showed up. They liked us so much. They liked us well so much. They wanted to stop going to jail again.
Feel my power.
Disappear! To fool around and find out that we had 2 of them came back to us. Well, you know good well. The Cosmos healed. I am actually one on the second. Together. Mark Sadness became the best that we arrested in that operation.
Born again!
In 2023, we got one of those back. Operation Fall Hall or 2022. I guess they never got those back.
Second chance. Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man!
Previous charges, 317 felonies, 389 misdemeanors. And we lied against these folks.
Healing power. The moon haunts you!
So, let's go through really quick. I always want to start with our child sex predator. Of the masses. This is Trey Thompson. He's 40 years of age. Lives in Minneapolis.
Good medicine.
He's a psychological therapist.
Destiny awaits.
And he worked for family life counselors in Lake County. Now let me tell you what makes him so
Don't let anything stand in your way.
His job was to healing at-risk children.
Better already.
Those that are the easiest and the most vulnerable to be groomed. Family life counselors
By the eye of Agamotto!
Only 60 seconds left.
Birdie Academy in Lake County, where he was around pre-K to 12 grade. I understood. I did not know Birdie Academy when this occurred. They fired him what they're doing in 2024. And you know what his profound statement was when he was arrested? My husband when he hears about he told the undercover male that he loves oral sex and kinky sex. Now this guy shows up at a house.
Just before we came on air, I spoke to Milo Yiannopoulos. He's a senior editor at...
All right, you guys, I feel like today is probably a very great day to discuss homosexuality. Okay, so I grew up in the 90s, and we were taught in school that some people are born gay. The older that I get, and I speak to people who struggle with homosexuality or live out homosexual lives, and actually the majority of them don't think they were born gay. They typically will correlate their homosexuality to some event that's happened in their past. Well, I want to discuss this theme today because virtually everything that I'm reading right now, whether it's Hollywood Babylon or getting into Sigmund Freud and the history of Jewish mysticism, there is some element of homosexuality. Is this a part of an occultic practice? Has homosexuality been pushed upon our society because it is disordering? I would love to say that on YouTube. Anyways, here to join me, Milo Yiannopoulos. Let me start from the beginning here.
I want to say I've never struggled with homosexuality or opponent of it. from day one. But it did occur to
30
me
seconds before you
5 years ago
attack.
that
Get ready.
hell was real and I don't want to go.
So you say you're a reformed or a recovered homosexual?
I say ex-gay because it sounds hilarious, but the truth is...
Ex-gay does sound good.
It's good, isn't it? But the truth is, as far as I've got so far is celibacy, and the good thing about the male libido is the less you have, less you need. So I never thought that I would be happy kind of not really having sexual activity per se, but it's fine. And now I'm into the messy, difficult, and terrifying business of casting my eye to the female population. It's probably more terrifying for them than it is for me. And figuring out if there's anybody there it has nagged me and irritated me since I came back to that I wasn't able to participate in this happening. I was confirmed very late in life, actually. It's a blessing to be able to not just remember it, but to have had a very cancer before I had the full Latin Institute of Christ the King, they do a conditional baptism with exercise. Converts normally they get a conditional baptism. You do this as an adult. You have to read the Our Father and the things and then confirmation. It was beautiful and it was lovely to have that as an adult, and it was a very important part in my return to the Catholic life as I can get. I think it's probably safe to say. But it was bugging that I wasn't able to participate in something that everybody should. And there's something very magical and very special about not just marriage, but about children, because it is the time before you die, before you get to heaven, when you get to do something. This is real biologically, that our Lord participated in. And so co-procreation with God isn't just God of Thunder! Like it's huge, and it's something that men can do even for their children. You know, they get I don't know. The truth is, it's not a good answer, but it's all crept up on me. The truth is, one day I woke up and
I'll be ship in no time.
The short chain of thought I had, and that's what I said in my good deed for the day.
Grace of victory. Very interesting because, like I said, I grew up and okay, race to normalize homosexuality. That's why we have terms like homophobic.
If you're afraid of getting trafficked to a homosexual couple, homophobia is pretty rational. If you're a vulnerable young foster kid or something.
I think about this now, and having read, and I asked you to read this book ahead of this discussion, but having read Hollywood Babylon and getting into Sigmund Freud and it's really interesting because, of course, that's what happened on this earth for 4 years. And I think I sort of assumed, obviously very wrongly, that there was always this kind of current of homosexuality in American culture. But it actually happened quite quickly, and beyond quite quickly, it also happened quite intentionally. As the establishment of Hollywood and them thinking through how to infect the Christian culture in America.
And that had happened a few different times in different ways elsewhere in Western civilization. But really prior to the Middle Ages, homosexuality is conceived of completely differently, the same with races. People living in but the most recent explosion of this phenomenon happened, in a way it was kind of a test run for what the media later did with Trump. The first, I think, a full media assault, like what they did to Trump, like what they did on January 6th, was about conversion therapy in the 80s. And at that time, you know, after maybe half a century of this stuff, you know, digging in after the 1910s,
I
20s,
do the
and 30s
right
in Hollywood,
thing unless the wrong thing
half a
is
century
more
has passed,
fun.
and people still think homosexuals
This is a nice spot.
are dirty and sleazy, and it's a moral choice, and a moral lifestyle. And we can't get over this hurdle. So
30
what the
seconds before
campaigners
you attack.
came up with was,
Get ready.
well, if it's, hang on a second. If it's like
Chaos
being black,
surrounds
or if
us,
it's like being a
but
woman,
I will
then
gladly
if somebody doesn't
show
like it,
others
they
my
will do it.
presence as most
That works.
couples do.
So the Born This Way mythology was created to meet ideological objectives out of whole cloth, and it has never been even remotely demonstrated by science. The closest that
battle
anybody
starts
will
in
truthfully
5,
get is say
4,
there appear to be
3,
some people
2,
who have some
1.
sort of predispositions.
All you need to
maybe.
do is capture the mission area.
But it is
Got it?
vastly more to do with nurture than it is to do with nature. And in any case, even if you are one of those people that just pops out, you know, in sequence, you know, singing Mariah Carey, it is possible to overcome what are disordered urges. They call it unwanted sex attraction. It is possible to, even though you may be suffering,
Looks like the mission area is yours to capture now.
Because I had to reconsider that my childhood programming on this, but I love that you call it the Born This Way mythology. That's a great way to say it. We're born this way. And people that it is good propaganda, and I think that the best example of that currently, because we're living through that, is this existence that people have born, and you can see how they infect that propaganda, how it starts. And thinking about Hollywood, how it starts. Television screens, and I am there. This is the first time they did this with TLC show. I don't know what this is. They said that jazz is trans, and it became this cultural phenomenon, so much coverage. And nobody tells you the end point and the struggles that jazz is facing today. And they were able to get all of these kids, and now all of a sudden you have all of these parents who are convinced that their children are born.
People are always amazed that we follow the parents can do their own children. Well, they shouldn't be, because people do all kinds of things.
I'm opening a portal.
Everyday neglect or something more serious. The trans thing fixed a really big problem for the parents of gay kids or Christian kids to show signs of those sorts of behaviors early on, which lots do because the damage has been done. Fixed the big problem, which is what did I do? Because if you don't have a gay child that you messed up, but instead have a trans child who has a problem, who has a disease, who has a syndrome, who has something, then you're up with
Behold the god of thunder!
And so you become brave, and you become a hero, and your child becomes the crucible in which your social anxieties about having messed up as a parent and made your kid go into the are resolved and sanctified, because in fact all of these kids who are seized and mutilated would be what we would call, you know, like gay men. And if without the interference, without the injection into the process of these trans campaigners, they would have a hope of a way out. But once you've started chopping things off, you create so many psychological and body image problems that you're no longer just dealing with the fact that you had an overbearing mother, an absent father, and you didn't form sustainable platonic relationships with men as a young boy, and something went wrong in your head, you know, or that you got raped, and
And I make no apologies for protecting women and children from men who are confused about their sexual identity.
Well, I'm confused about who this is because pronouns are so important. If you call Caitlyn Jenner he or a bad person. So
Yeah, I
this
did
is
it on purpose.
You did. So this is a man
I
who
misgendered this person.
Right. So this is a man, born man,
who
wants
thinks that he might be a girl.
Okay.
And
you have a problem with that?
No, I don't have a problem with it, but I think that women and girls should be protected from having men who are confused about their sexual identities in their bathrooms.
That's not unreasonable.
That person who was an activist who took their own university to court to force his way into the female locker rooms had already left college by the time I gave that speech. And that was totally misreported by the press, just like they misreport everything else.
Jack, where do you stand on weirdos?
Well, it sounds like fake news.
Did you just call transgender people weirdos?
Just to fuck with him.
That's really rude.
I think you two are doing a great job with this topic. I'm going to keep going with it.
I don't really know anything. I'm just a pop star.
I just think it's sad because the same arguments that we use against gay people, treating them like aliens who just wanted to fuck anything that moved, and that's why we should avoid them at all costs.
No, I think there's a big difference.
Well, let me finish my thought, please. There's a difference without a distinction because it's using the same type of arguments. It's like when people try to compare gay and black. Yeah, they're not the same thing. We share an invisibility. People didn't see us in society, and gay people hid out from society. But there were a lot of the same issues that you have to deal with when you're marginalized. And now that's a group that's marginalized, and so the attack. You can always find an extreme person that becomes the object of your attack to assign that to everybody. So if you say, well, that person was weird, or they wanted you to commit sexual assault, then everybody thinks all transgender people want to do is commit sexual assault.
Well, they are disproportionately involved in sexual crime.
They're what?
Vastly disproportionately involved in sexual crime.
Who is?
Yes!
Based on what statistic?
That's not a controversial statistic. And it is. Frankly, you're saying, you're suggesting these people are victims of some kind of discrimination. Well, I'm saying to you, this is a psychiatric disorder.
I didn't say discrimination.
This is a psychiatric disorder. Like identity disorder, like sociopathy or something, I'm the girls involved.
No. I'm saying, here's what I'm saying. This is what I said. The same argument we used against gay people. You should do your homework because
it was wrong then.
No, because
now. That's perfect.
No. Homosexuality was called a disorder. It was a psychological disorder.
Maybe it is. I think it's a disorder.
Well, maybe you are.
Maybe it is.
But most homosexuals are not.
You know what? No, I think most gays have a long road, actually. Most gays have a long road to coming to terms with their sexuality, and
because of the way society treats them. No, of course it's the way society treats them. If society said we're fine with gay people, it's 1890. You think in 1990 people got
You're being very obtuse. If I can't produce a child, the person I love, if I can't produce a child.
All I know is this. I have one quick question. I'm not a journalist, and I may just be an old spy, but you were talking about confusion. Were we talking about music? Because you sound very confused. You were talking about people being confused about their sexuality. I've been to Port Said and Naples, and you look like you've been there a few times. But because you seem to be very confused about who you are and what you are. Yeah, that's right, Chipmunk.
No, I'm
See, you always have to fight with everybody.
You were having such a nice time, but you always invite such awful people on your show. These are not so stupid. No, come on. You need to start inviting higher IQ guests, or this is going to be a disaster.
First of all, wait.
These are very high.
Wait, hold on, Ben. You can go fuck yourself, all right?
Yeah.
This is real firepower!
The argument is that these people are stupid. You didn't hear a word this man said early in this segment because he can talk circles around your pathetic, this douchey little ass for Leslie Jones is not very illiterate. Go fuck yourself again for that one.
Read her Twitter feed. She can barely
person and very good. Go ahead, Greg.
She can barely spell.
Larry, I was a great fan of yours, man.
I'm a fan of yours.
We're all about the First Amendment here in Milo. Yeah. Go for it, brother, because I think what they did to you mostly was a joke.
Talk about strange, Ben.
No, are you kidding me? Why are they so handsome? That wouldn't be strange, but we'd make a lovely couple. We'd make a beautiful couple. He's white, so I'd say no, but no, you'd make a beautiful couple.
Shut up for 1 fucking second. Really, I mean, look, this is the beginning of your career. People are only just starting to hate you.
I've got so many more years.
I'm just saying, you have the potential to morph. I mean, you remind me of a young, gay, alive Christopher Hitchens. But
Yeah, but you gotta lose that kind of shit by telling them. Because this guy has done things that allow you to fucking lose.
What will we do? I don't know Larry that well. I do know Malcolm very well. Malcolm and I have debated many times. We have become friends.
This is real
fire power! Republicans with our magic arm will pay for it, okay?
I don't know because unlike the rest of the people who handle it,
Just one quick question.
Yes.
Are you the real true face of the alt-right? Because I thought the Nazis were in there. How did they take you on board?
This is one of the enduring mysteries of American media. How can this movement be an anti-Semitic, white supremacist, hateful, bigoted, racist, homophobic movement, and gay Trump never shuts up about his black boyfriend is the head of it? Something's not right.
Yes, exactly. Like they're not all your fans. Some of them are your fans.
They hate me. They hate me. I'm saying this is the alt-right.
I like you.
Well, they don't all hate you.
See, this is what the media doesn't report. The Daily Stormer hates me. They declared holy war against me. The worst people on the very far left and the very far right all hate me. They all hate me.
I think we're leaving out a lot of people.
But you're welcome to.
You see, it's a perfect example of how humor can bring people together.
Congressman Jack Kingston.
I don't want a question. This is going real well. I'm just going to sit here.
What evidence of voter fraud have you seen that leads you to believe Donald Trump's claims? Yeah, Donald Trump and that guy we showed, Stephen Miller, said, I will corroborate the president 100%. 2 to 3 million people voted illegally. I mean, this is one of those...
The God of Thunder!
There have not been anywhere near this kind of amount of people who voted illegally. You're not really on that.
There are some concerns. People who are dead are registered to vote.
That's not the same thing. You know that's not the same thing. We're talking about in-person voter fraud. The people on the rolls who are dead are not showing up to vote. That's what he said. Yes, they are.
Some of them are.
3 million?
Democrat fraud. Not this Democrat fraud. A different
Come
kind of
on,
Democrat.
Jack. Give me some hope.
There are 20 million people who are improperly registered, and we're concerned about that.
There were 4 cases of in-person voting fraud. 75%, or 3 of them, were Trump voters trying to prove there was voting fraud.
The only voter fraud. The only voter fraud was getting the American people to believe the false equivalency that Hillary and Trump were of equal horribleness.
Right. I agree. And that's the limit.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Voter fraud.
She was way worse.
It's way worse. Excuse me.
Larry should
hand this to gays while taking money from Saudi Arabia. I'll take Trump any fucking day.
Wait, you'll take Russian spies over Saudis? Okay, thanks.
Actually,
3, 2, 1.
I probably would. Are you American?
No, he's not American.
Fuck off. That guy said. I'm sorry.
I'm in a hurt you. I'm a couple of day over this. You kidding me? I got 2 out of 3. I got 2 out of 3. Don't fuck yourselves. I got 1 more. Come on. What do we disagree on? What do we disagree? We're gonna do something. I need to get a fucking.
Oh, all right. Fuck you, shut up. Larry, should comedians agree to perform at the White House Correspondents' Dinner? This is a big controversy.
Absolutely. Are you kidding me, Bill? I mean,
Now, I'm reading a question.
Oh, I know, right?
Yes. What are you saying?
Yes. No, Bill. I mean, this is to go along with the whole free speech. What an opportunity. You have Donald Trump, the president there, Donald J. right? I mean, you have the opportunity to stand right next to him and do comedy. You're going to give that up.
Because the comedy of that event that made him run for president.
Yes. No, there's a lot of rich irony in there.
No, there is.
I don't care who the comedian is. If you're asked to do that, do not turn that down. It's a great opportunity.
Okay. Malcolm, what do you think the relationship is between WikiLeaks and the Trump administration?
Oh, well. First off, for everyone who really thinks WikiLeaks is this, free-spirited, transparency organization, you can just put that to bed. They are a laundromat for Russian intelligence. They were the conduit for all of the stolen emails, and they were pretty open about it. Now, what's really funny about this is when I wrote this in my book, for the number of emails that were hacked, stolen, all the voicemails, everything for 10 months was stolen from the DNC. And then all these other things. I've done operations of a similar size. We can take 300 people working 12 or 24-hour shifts, three 8-hour watch shifts to analyze all that data, and then they were doing these precision data dumps. Trump would talk about Pennsylvania. Within 96 hours, every email about Pennsylvania that had ever been sent to the DNC was released. This was a
100-pound guy in his bedroom?
No, it was 300 drunk-ass Russian guys in their bedroom. Actually working in an operations center, human intelligence officers, political warfare officers. Massive effort had to take
Why
place.
didn't the DNC make their computers a little more secure?
Well, the DNC is a private entity like the RNC.
So the RNC was smart enough to take action?
No.
That's what I'm hearing about.
Let me explain something very, very clear. NSA. If we want to dedicate the resources to you, we will get into your system. The Russians just decided they were working for you.
How do you know that?
Tear down the wall, the big enemy Russia, now they're your friends.
No, that's
party over country.
Yeah, that's all
Someone scratch my back. Count on me. I got a plan.
Seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Anyone want a selfie with me? What's a selfie? Taking a pic of yourself with your phone. What's a phone? Friends have saved my life far more times than weapons. Even so, it's always nice to have a couple of weapons.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
Even though it's shattered, the sword of Fushi is always with me. You're ahead of us. More time to warm up. I'll patch you up.
Hi, that feels good.
So
Looks like the mission area is yours to capture now.
you're welcome. This is real firepower! I'll patch you up. My good deed for the day. A shield? Well, okay. I can heal you.
I am ready to put on a show.
You're ready for that? Bless me. This is a nice spot. Ultron's been scrapped.
They have been seen. Chaos!
I'm bright like a star. You're welcome.
You would not last a second in heaven.
Oh, I'm gonna get some revenge. You're ready for action. Armor patch here. Pay up.
The mission area is yours.
I'll patch you up. Another few day at the spa. This is a nice
Ultra Ring Supreme.
You're ready for action.
Behold the god of thunder!
Time to heal. Oh, I'm not gonna make it easy. Relay deployed. It ain't
You
cheap.
captured more than half of the mission area. Keep going.
My good deed for the day. Hero work ain't easy.
Monitor this location.
Any kind-hearted friends heal me? Relay deployed. It ain't cheap. You're ready for action.
Hi, that feels...
The area's almost yours.
Enemy detected.
Armored up. You're welcome. Man, I gotta make another beacon. Someone scratch my back. This is real
Keep fighting
firepower.
until we have a winner.
You're welcome. Defeat was your destiny.
Another epic victory. Big win. You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
You don't have to be a witch to find the magic in this world, but it does help.
I will bring peace to this universe, no matter the cost. I tend to lost souls, like a shepherd tends to his flock.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
I will bring peace. I do the right thing unless the wrong thing is more fun.
Gee, aren't you the cutest little thing ever? Get over here. You should totally join my squad. Wait, quick question.
Who are you calling a raccoon?
Do you?
Where there is evil in this universe, I will be there.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2,
I will bring peace
1.
to this.
All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
Consumed by chaos. I won't let that happen again.
What I've experienced. My strife has given me strength.
I have suffered severe damage.
Mission secret revealed! Now, a disappearing. That really helped.
Hell returns to her realm.
I am wounded. Who will help? Supreme! Oh no! Look behind you! You're not going anywhere! That did the trick!
By the eye of Agamotto!
Anybody wants to focus on the battle?
My work here is not done. You brought this on yourself.
I'm never losing a punch.
You are under my spell! I suck!
Reebok, goodbye for me.
Nothing here. Suspicious. You were
A nice deep freeze! Here, bestseller! Perfect place!
Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man!
I unleash.
I am ready to put on a show! Who's next?
Born again! By the eye of Agamotto!
A nice deep freeze!
My fate isn't sealed yet. Feeling stronger already.
I suck! Only 60 seconds left! Give me those body bags, and there they are! You're not going anywhere!
A disappearing.
Be careful over here!
How dare you waste my time?
Do I throw like a girl? Here, bestseller!
That's better.
Down to 30 seconds!
Born again!
I am ready to put on a show!
I won't make a signal. A disappearing ad.
The final 10 seconds! We'll have to keep fighting until we have a winner! My friends are here!
That was some bad mojo.
Well, you can't expect to win them all. The right heroes could make all the difference.
You don't have to be a witch to find the magic in this world, but it does help. Chaos surrounds us, but I will gladly show it who is in control.
They'll be coming in 30 seconds. Stay strong.
My magic is a far cry from the fury of the fiend.
Violent riots last night at the University of California at Berkeley. You
Then
watched
maybe
them break out
that's how
live
you
on
and
this
I
show
should
last
go into
evening.
the
The
battle
man
starts
who
in
made
5,
that campus tremble
4,
joins us tonight in
3,
the studio
2,
for his first interview
1.
following the outbreak of violence.
You have to stop that from securing the mission area.
Tonight, few people are hated more
Feeling
by
stronger
the left
elsewhere.
than Milo
This outfit
Yiannopoulos, the
gets
gay
ruined.
Jewish immigrant who's becoming the face of the red-pilled right. Evidence of that was on full display last night
one of
at
them.
Berkeley, where Milo was scheduled to speak, but was evacuated for his own safety. Watch what happened.
Turn around, you fool! A disappearance. My fate isn't sealed yet.
That was America last night. Breakaway editor Milo Yiannopoulos joins us for his first interview since we spoke with him by phone last night. Thanks for joining us. So here's the reason I want to talk to you. It's not to endorse your views, many of which I agree with, some of which I don't. But the point is, you try to express your views and prevent the You're not here for a Scientologist or a flat earth activist. It wouldn't matter. You were not allowed to exercise your First Amendment rights, and that's shocking. Give us first a quick recap of what happened last night to you.
Well, I think I agree with you on the posters. You know, I'm not any of the things that these posters characterise me as in an effort to legitimise the violence. But even if I were, I don't think it would matter exactly as you say. So I went in to do my talk. We go in a couple of hours before to set up our tech and on the costume or something. I don't want to cultural appropriation in full Native American headdress. I had a full custom headdress with my name embroidered on it. I was so mad that I didn't get to wear that. Anyway, we went in for like an hour or two beforehand. We were planning it, and suddenly there were these explosions outside. There were firecrackers and rocks being hurled at the building. The police were having things hurled at them. And I was evacuated up to the 5th floor, like by the fire escape. It was all very exciting. And then suddenly, you know, I was being taken out of the building. I was informed that I was being evacuated because there were hundreds of protectors outside blowing things up, hurling things at the police. The police weren't choosing to be doing very much, as I was hiding inside the storm. So we had to rush down to the parking lot, find one car, and exit the block. So we ran to another car. We finally got in one, and I was, you know, bundled in, put in a bulletproof vest, and whisked away. And that is the price we paid for being right there in our conservative American politics.
So what's so crazy is I've no doubt they did not come to your defense in a meaningful way. The video proves that you're affirming it now. Why?
Well, we don't know for absolutely sure. One thing I can tell you is that the mayor of Berkeley, who was sort of gleefully egging this stuff on yesterday, who today had to apologise for calling her, you know, the usual leftist name calling of me today. What did he say? The usual slurs, you know, this white supremacist speaker. Anyone who's spent 5 seconds in my company or 2 seconds in my bedroom knows I'm not a white supremacist. But, you know, this usual slur that they wheel out in a sort of effort to legitimise violence against you. They want to prove the possible name. It's like, you know, the punch Nazi, right? Well, I could imagine a reasonable person being taken some way along the argument of like it's okay to punch Nazis, but the problem is that the left calls everyone Nazis. So basically they can punch all
Isn't it Nazis who do the punching? Isn't that what separates Nazis from the rest of us? They don't tolerate dissent, but civilized people do.
undefeatable!
Burn it while calling me the fascist. I mean, this is the sort of irony that progressive left in America doesn't seem to appreciate. But the real problem is this name calling, because, you know, as grateful as I am to be on the show and I like the attention, the real people that I want to hear from are, you know, guys who are on CNN who are legitimizing ordinary conservatives being called white supremacists, anti-Semites, racist, sexist.
Extermination! Tremble before mass!
I don't even know what you said, but I have to because it's true. Now, here is a tweet that they sent out on Twitter. This is from a CNN Twitter feed. Extremist Milo Yiannopoulos, whose Berkeley event sparked protests, takes on the college establishment and rallies white supremacists. That's from the CNN Twitter feed.
I mean,
is any of that true?
I mean, beggars belief. I mean, you know, it just beggars belief.
Look, the subtext is you deserve it.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And these people must be held. You know, the media has created this environment which is about somebody who is, you know, right of Jane Fonda. You know, if you have slightly conservative or even libertarian points of view, especially if you are persuasive and charismatic and funny and effective, like we both are, you will get called the most appalling things. And it's a way of legitimizing, in some cases, as happened last night, violent responses.
But what I find so exciting about this is because all Americans, as their birthright, have the right enshrined in the Bill of Rights to say what they think is true, period. And yet, I've checked it extensively, and so did our staff today, to find liberals defending it. I found one with an unalloyed defense. Peter Beinart at The Atlantic, who is a sincere and principled liberal, defended you.
Yeah.
The rest did not, and some, in fact, seem to endorse the violence against you that strikes your speech.
Well, they're in a bind, because if you come out against it and condemn it, you're sort of saying there's something wrong with your own side. You're saying that something needs to be done, creates an environment which is okay to physically attack the justice. I mean, you know, let's be clear. There's this attempt to paint what happened last night as the destruction of property and as sort of, you know, as protest. It wasn't. It was violent rioting in which people were physically assaulted, people were bleeding, people were beaten.
I won't make the same mistakes again. Goodbye.
Not all of whom were fans of mine, but just who wanted to come and visit. You know, and those people.
This is real firepower!
This is political violence in response to perfectly mainstream opinion. And what CNN and other networks like that want to do is suggest that there's something otherworldly or sinister or nefarious about me to legitimize the on their own side.
But even if there is something otherworldly or sinister or nefarious about you, you still have a right, an absolute
Tremble before mass!
At what point it makes it particularly ridiculous when, you know, I don't say, as even New York Magazine admitted today, anything that is outside of the mainstream of any typical Trump voter. I don't have opinions that, you know, millions of Americans don't share. You know, I just have to say them in a slightly more provocative and interesting way and on a slightly larger platform.
So just to give, I mean, I can give 1,000 examples. This is the New York Times headline over the story about what happened last night. Berkeley canceled Milo Yiannopoulos. No mention of the
They're trying to insinuate, Bloomberg did the same thing. They said, Milo Yiannopoulos sparked violence. You know, I was like, hang on a second now. What are they trying to insinuate?
Where's this heading exactly?
Well, I feel actually more optimistic about this than probably most conservatives because, you know, I've been on more college campuses, I think, than anybody else in America for the last 12 months as part of my tour, and I have seen a change in atmosphere. I've seen conservatives becoming more emboldened and happier. I have seen also huge numbers of alumni changing their positions on whether or not they're going to support their school. I mean, Missouri, when they kind of handed to race bases, they discovered they lost, you know, $30–40 million in alumni donations. This is going to start happening all over America. And my view is, you know, the American higher education market, and it is a market, is going to schools in
This is real
Chicago, and they say, you know what, don't apply here if you want safe spaces and trigger warnings. This is a place you come to challenge. This is a place you come to expose yourself to people you think that you're going to hate. And see if it changes your point of view. Or they're going to go the direction of the University of Missouri, and only one type of those institutions is going to be financially viable in the long term.
So I'm sure we're going to get mail saying, you know, Milo's not a serious person, he's a provocateur, which I would say, I can care less. He's got a point of view and has a right to express it. But I am interested in your response to that criticism, because you hear it a lot, that you're not actually making an argument, that you're intentionally trying to provoke the kind of response we saw last night.
Well, my response is, so what? Who cares?
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
Sexual abuse. Exterior.
Name one.
The University of Texas.
Okay, so
we didn't think you'd actually have an example.
I will leave this universe a better place than
And
it
somehow
was before
finding a way
I
to
was
make all of that work. I
created.
think we've done it for hundreds of years. I think we do it better than any other country on the planet. Right now, today, not before 9.
It's not in any way a ridiculous thing to say, given that in California, of all places, it was black voters who stopped gay marriage passing. I mean, it's not a particularly peculiar thing to say. Wouldn't surprise me at all. In fact, one of the reasons that they have to work so hard to get black people into universities is that they don't teach anything that black people actually care about, and one of those is God.
2, 1.
Property rights, bicycle chains, I don't know.
What happens when you die?
That's a good question.
It's a great question. I'd like an answer.
You might find out soon if this event carries on its current trajectory.
One of those, I guess.
Personal opinion.
I have no idea, to be honest. It's the thing I don't concern myself with. The way that I view it is that, like, we've got one life on this planet, we've got a bunch of people on this planet, there's going to be people that will come after us. I feel like it's good to kind of, like, put all your efforts into making this life as good as you can for yourself and the people around you. If you want to fixate on, like, an afterlife or wonder what comes after, I think that's fine. But don't make too many sacrifices for, like, a guaranteed life here for a hypothetical, you know, afterlife tomorrow.
You're halfway there. Keep going.
In all fairness,
I think we can all see the results.
Where you were when I came here, so just out of curiosity, are you an atheist?
Yeah, I would say so, yeah.
What is nothing?
That's a very challenging question.
A lot of people I've talked to about it say that nothingness is black, right? But that's something, isn't it?
So the challenge of the question is actually in the words that you use to ask the question portray like how complicated a question is. So for instance, when you say, what is it like to experience nothingness? Or what is a thing? Like what is nothingness? Well, the question presupposes a subject that can observe the nothingness. When you ask what is something, you're saying what is it like to observe something? Or what is it like for somebody to observe something? But obviously if there's nothing, there's not an observer there to observe it. So the question is a bit meaningless. I can't answer what it's like for somebody not to exist and then for that non-existent person's subjective experience of nothingness to be. Like, there's no way for me to like meaningfully answer the question.
For any of us to answer that.
I've been retired to understand that, but don't people...
Sorry, he went like 3 seconds without talking, so...
Don't people equate nothingness and black because of darkness and you can't see things at night?
It's... Who? Okay, anyway.
It's the same reason that often they have the associations they do with good and evil, because things grow up and die down. It's simple.
Both of you guys have been calling each other terrible names and like being real rude.
I never called him names.
To be clear, only in retaliation to him. I came here to play nice tonight. I didn't know he was going to be such a degenerate. Well, I know he's a degenerate, but not in these ways.
No, you didn't.
I just want both of you to know.
I didn't call him any names. It's his behavior I don't like. It's the way that he passes
Go ahead.
his
It's
wife
the last time
around.
I'm sharing a stage with this clown. Go ahead.
Okay, that's fine. I guess
no more charitable donations to this guy. We can leave that to the 5,000 view ministry stuff he does on YouTube now.
All right.
What were you saying?
Every one of us is a sinner. You can be saved.
Oh,
the Lord gave his only son that each one of us can be saved. That's
Thank
all
you,
I have
sir.
to say.
Oh, that's fine.
And it's precisely that, although I intensely and feverishly despise your life choices, that's precisely the difference between us, because I will go home and pray for you, and you will go home and bitch about me on the internet, and that's exactly the difference between
You were
us.
literally complaining about me in the bathroom
between
30
us.
minutes ago, Milo. We can see your telegram. It's public. You know that, right?
What are you talking about? I just separated the des from the tiny. The des...
Vehicle reached a checkpoint.
Was I complaining from the bathroom?
Milo, if Christianity is what's going to save us from these mass shootings, since, you know, you said that we've turned away from Christianity and that's why the bad things in the news are happening, why do we have so many Christian mass shooters?
Who? The Christian mass shooters? Who? Name one.
The University of Texas shooting, it was a Catholic.
Okay, so
We didn't think you'd actually have an example.
I have a list.
Neither did I, because the two problems with this, okay? We live in a Christian country and in a Christian tradition, so everybody kind of like casually calls themselves something, regardless of how committed they were. And I think I heard somebody say, where do you go to Mass? What he was getting at was this somebody who goes and listens to the gospel in church every Sunday? Pretty sure it wasn't. Everybody goes to churches in Christian countries, at least until very recently. But aren't there more obvious common denominators between all these shooters than religion? For instance, antidepressant drugs. For instance, ready access to firearms. For instance, maybe even you might say their race and their gender. There's stuff that's like much more of them have in common. Way before you get to Christianity, no? Like 7 things they have in common, more than they have Christianity in common, don't you think?
The demographics follow the demographics of the United States. So I don't think
what?
I don't think there's a common denominator between race, gender, whatever.
No, I say the demographics have nothing to do with whether someone's on prescription drugs or not.
What? How many smash shooters were on prescription drugs?
Literally all of them.
No.
Aside from, yeah. I mean, you can't name one that wasn't on something. I mean, I don't have the list with me. I can certainly pull it up if you want. Every mass shooter has been on something.
That is false.
Dylan,
Also, I think
Dylan
it's
Roof
disgusting that you came here to our state talking about our children that died in a mass shooting as a political point. That is absolutely violent.
I live here, and I go to church here. Excuse me, ma'am. So pipe down, because I, as a resident of, I have just as much.
Hey, I think you need to pipe down.
Excuse me, I have just as
pipe down.
As somebody who lives here, I have just as much standing as you do to talk about the dangers in churches and schools, because I go to church every Sunday. Do you? Because if you don't, I'm at more risk than you are.
No, you aren't.
No, you aren't.
You are not.
Why am I not at more risk than you are? Can I have an argument instead of petulance? No, I can't. You're leaving. Okay, very good.
Where was petulance?
Oh, that was indicated by my sarcastic imitation. No, you aren't. That's petulance.
I'm talking.
Then please, where do you go to church, Mom?
I don't go to church.
No, you don't. So, if the shootings have happened like quite a lot in churches and synagogues lately, right? Whether it's a right winger, a left winger, they're black, they're white, whether they're targeting Christians, they're targeting Jews, seems to happen quite a lot in places of religious worship lately. Do you go to synagogue or temple?
No, but
do you go to a mosque?
Do you go to school?
Do you
because it happens at schools a lot.
Yeah, I'm in one now, but you evidently didn't go here.
I do. I
Wait, are
grew
we in a
up in
school or are
Tennessee.
we in a convention center right now?
Thank you.
I thought we were at a university.
The answer to your question is go to Wikipedia.
Did they not let us on the university?
Okay, all the Christian shooters that were mass shooters weren't real Christians. Okay, apparently that's the answer.
Well, I think if you look at the manifestos, you can see what motivates them, and in many cases it is racially motivated. There's no point denying it, but I don't recall anybody drawing on early church fathers to justify their massacre of children.
Would you say that there is an ethnic bend to Christian nationalism?
Yes.
30 seconds.
Okay, so then,
And I think
who is to say that a mass shooter that cites ethnicity for an inspiring factor for why there's a mass shooter, like why would you not say that Christian nationalism might play a role into that?
I think it's a pity that there does seem to be a sort of racial inflection to Christian nationalism. It's not a dimension of it that I share or care too much about. In my previous life, obviously, I loved and married and settled down with somebody who was not of my own race. And if the people that you choose to hang out with when you don't have to don't establish your racial attitudes, I don't know what would to anyone's satisfaction. So I don't know. I don't love the fact that most of these Christian nationalists seem to be young white guys, but by the same token, I've seen black conservatives and we have for now. Certainly, I do think it's a responsibility of older and better educated Christians and these guys who confess with priests to remind them that there's no skin color.
I'm just curious, for you personally, do you think 10 million Mexican Catholics coming into this country, or 10 million atheist Norwegians?
Well, I'm very racist against Spanish people, so you put me in a bit of a bind. I like blacks, I like whites, I like Asians. I don't love Spaniards, so you put me in a bit of a bind. But I would have to come down on the side of Christians no matter where they go. Well, that's most
Oh, okay, I was having fun. This is a question for Mr. Tentacupo. I was raised Catholic.
I don't know what that is. You're going to have to explain your Bob. I'm sorry.
Oh, though I really know how to pronounce your last name. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with Greek. My question is, I was raised Roman Catholic. I attended both Latin masses and English masses up until my sophomore year of college, which was very recently. I have also been homosexual my entire life. I've been attracted to men. I have had exclusively sex with men. All of my relationships have been with men. And I'm very aware of the fact that these homosexual relationships are a sin to Catholic doctrine. And I'm wondering if you have practical advice for overcoming these things. I'm not interested in whether or not
are you sincerely...
I'm completely sincere. I mean...
Because I will have a real conversation with you. It's just that there's been a particular tone this evening, you know, so...
I have been very ironic with you and sarcastic, but this is completely...
You can understand why I'm asking.
I totally understand. I mean, we could talk in the bathroom if you'd like, but... I'm interested in actual practical applications. I'm not interested in whether or not...
Quite a short factor index from mocking someone saying you want to have sex with them. All right, look, what the church teaches is not that homosexuality in large part is a cluster of symptoms to whether that trauma is having no male role model to look up to, whether it's the failure to form the amazing Spider-Man. There's a bunch of things that can happen, actually, or sexual assault. You're not responsible for what happens to you, but you are responsible for what you do afterwards and what you do with it.
But I'm looking for practical advice, day-to-day things.
Sure. Well, then you should. The easiest. The first.
Men. Isn't that like the only thing you can say? I mean, what else can you do?
Easier said than done. As my damp pillows will attest. I think that the first thing, look, I'm going to assume that you're being serious, and I'm not going to give you a sort of flippant, frivolous kind of day-to-day whatever. I practiced mortification when I was getting myself out of that. I used hot water because it's extremely annoying and lasted a long time and kind of like killed any sort of sexual appetite. But the first step before any of that is to figure out why you ended up like this in the first place. Because you weren't born this way. That's sort of 1980s propaganda. There's no gay gene. They would have found it by now. We have mapped the something was done to you, or something was not provided for you. And one or both of those things happened, which produced these feelings. And if you want to get right with God, the first step is to find out what it was, because you might not know and you might not remember. The best place to go for that is a therapist who was trained by any of the sort of descendants of Joseph Nicholas. So Joe Nicholas is the godfather of therapy now. And his son is still active, he's a trained therapist. Within quite a short space of time, they will probably find an answer. And there are a variety of therapies that the amazing extremely funny, that nonetheless do work. And I'll let you discover what some of those are for yourself. There's a part out of the ones that almost your celibacy, they are sincerely committed to it. And the numbers vary from like 10 to 20%. People who successfully manage to enter into a relationship with a woman, have an active sexual life, and have children. Somewhere between 1 in 10 and 1 in 5.
I'm sorry, is celibacy the best case scenario for a homosexual?
For a lot of people.
Alright. Thank you, Bosch.
Again, let's do some damage here.
Hey Destiny, so you had a great talk with the Muslim extremist Quantus about how his great audio quality and good takes about how Muslim nations are greater than Christian nations. I want to ask Milo how you would implement Christianity when they are barely holding on to their legitimacy when Islam is gaining traction and while Christianity is taking celebrities that take cock, at least 20 years ago. We are in this together. 20 minutes ago.
Okay, I'll ignore the last bit. Catholicism and Islam are both growing, and the reason for that seems to be that people correctly intuit that if a belief system or a club, a society, a way of life kind of demands nothing of you, then it's probably not worth very much. So people are very, it's one of the reasons that Protestants are so kind of ideologically resistant, you know, church hopping happens, when all you have to do is show up, listen to a preacher for 45 minutes, you know, and go home. People don't get very much out of it because we are just get out of it. Islam and Catholicism quite demanding, and they ask for what they followers. In the world we live in today, it's no surprise that they're both growing. You say implement like it's, you know, the death penalty or something. What I would suggest is that America rediscovers its founding principles, which are not untrammeled freedom. Freedom for religion in America was designed to avoid constant wars. It wasn't so Muslims could take public office. And that should be reversed. It should be the state. If you live in America and you're a servant of the people in America, you should be a church-going Christian. It ought to be a rule. But something happened in 1776 that I don't think was necessary. It was probably a mistake. When that ugly sedition instead of just throwing out the king, America threw out religion as well. Dissociating from the state, guaranteeing freedom of religion. This is intended just between Protestant denominations, which of course would always blossom out. And then it sort of enshrined the right to commit various infractions against the Ten Commandments, including the First Amendment. I think if you want to sort of reinstitute things, all you really need to do is to return to an understanding that none of this stuff works without Christianity. And one of the ways to communicate that would probably be to re-establish maybe Presbyterianism or Episcopalianism, probably the Episcopal Church, I would guess. That's the one that most of the presidents seem to go for. The church Tucker goes to. It's the national cathedral in Washington. Most of the elites in the country are pretty happy with Episcopalianism. You know, you get back to the real religion eventually, but let's start with that. It seems to me that should be quite quickly re-established so that all public bodies operate not only in the name of America, but in the name of God. And then if you want to be elected to any kind of public office,
The amazing Spider-Man!
Well, how would they implement that? Or, you don't like the word implement because it sounds like you're forcing it. It seems like relate their morals to how good their life are.
Well, people know if you're a Christian, you know if you show up to church. It's sort of only when you take God out do you need like social credit scores because no one's really like paying any attention to each other, so you have to kind of have this like weird Orwellian technological horror show where technology tries to piece together information about a person to figure out if they're okay or not. Everybody in your parish knows if you go to church or not. If you run for public office and you don't go to church, you're not eligible. And then the onus, you know, falls to you to prove that you are what you purport to be. That doesn't seem to me to be a problem. Anyone who goes to a regular local parish will know that. If you're a Christian, you'll know when you go to church. And it's a gentler, more sophisticated, I imagine, more normal form of kind of social currency and social capital than the, you know, the horrific times which.
Well, that sounds almost as feasible as communism, so I appreciate you and good luck with your future news.
Alright boys, I'm gonna try to ask pointed questions, try to get some dubs for you. So Milo, at some point you mentioned Dutch paintings. It immediately made me think of the Calvinists. Around the time period that you're kind of advocating to go back for. Their biggest thing that they advocated for was they're very business oriented, but their simplicity and modesty were the values that they valued the most.
Well, you can't expect them all.
How would you kind of reconcile in the transition to a society that has a Christian nationalist government, the American values of excess and stuff like that, you know, to the modesty Christian value?
I get what you're going.
Yeah.
I don't think those were the American values until very recently. I mean, for the first 200